Hey guys, and welcome to another season of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we uncover the remarkable power of genuine compassion and insightful vision. This season, we're here to show the world that we, as individuals, are the brand, regardless of misconceptions. Join us as we go deep into the inspiring journeys of our guests, each one a testament to the impact and influence of kindness and creativity. Don't just take my word for it. Hear their stories, feel their passion, and discover the transformative potential within us all. So stay tuned as we shine a light on the truths that connects us and inspires change.
Yo people, this is Akudike, CEO of Dice, and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks. Lock in, come on.
Society has made me want to validate.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I am abundantly humbled to have Kevin the Legend here, who is a BAFTA Award-winner, executive producer, CEO at Dice Productions Entertainment Recordings, and he also has a management company with artists like Big Nasty, Courtney, DJ Super D are just a few for me to humbly name. Kevin, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I'm good, my sister.
That's what I like. See, he looks more relaxed now, which is what I like. See, this is what I like. A relaxed man who's ready to ask questions, or answer questions, I should say. So
Sure.
my first question for you is, could you tell me a bit about your background, where you grew up, and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York, Kings County Hospital. I think it's Flatbush, you know what I'm saying, in the projects over there. I left there at 4 years old. My parents met out there. My mum was studying there, and my dad was from the Bronx, but they're both Igbo Nigerians.
Yes.
So I think just before my 4th birthday, we left and went back to Nigeria, where I went nursery there for about a year or so. And I think just before my 5th birthday, we went to live in Alicante, Spain,
Yes.
where I lived there for 6 months. I came to the UK just before my 6th birthday. So I lived in, I'll say like, that'd be 3 different continents before I was 5.5. So America, Africa, and Europe, you know. So I've always felt, I never felt, you know, kind of like connected to anywhere, to be honest. Like, you know, like I can't swear, but, you know, like a B word, you know what I mean? Like,
It's fair enough. You can swear if you want
like
to.
a bastard.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Say how it
yeah.
is. That's what I like.
But I always look at myself as a good London lad, but I'm a real Igbo man. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know, I think America's right at the end of it. Do you know what I mean?
I think you know where your blood is from. You know where the power of where your blood is from. So regardless of wherever you go, you know where your roots are from.
Yeah, I'm an Igbo, true and out, you know.
100%.
Big up my Igbos out there, come on. You know?
So my next question for you goes a little bit deeper into
Sure.
who you are. So can you define yourself as a person, but also who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you may not have liked to finding the person who you wanted to become with purpose?
I grew up on the streets, innit? So you always carry that pride about yourself anyway.
100%.
Because you don't have nothing, so all you've got is yourself. So even when I was, you know, running them streets, I mean, just wilding out there, I always thought, you know, you are the man. You know what I mean? Like, but it's a lie, because I was not the man at all. I was a stupid little kid, you know. But it's that pride of your area, who you are, and so you look in the mirror and be like, yeah, like, you never looked and said you didn't want to be who you was, because You know, if you grow up on the streets, you get praised for doing the bad things. So in my community, was getting praised all the time anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so you look yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm the man. But then an adult man looking at me would shake his head and be like, this stupid little boy. You know, so I think in time, you know, I've never looked in myself in my mirror now and said, oh, I'm proud of what I've become, because I've always looked at, because I'm always fighting, you know, not physically, but whether it's against the powers that be, the system, this, that, and the other. So even when I'm winning, I feel like I'm fighting. So I've never get a chance to look in the mirror and be like, oh, wow, you know. But physically, because I used to be like 23 stones, you know.
Whoa.
Yeah, 23, 20. Yeah, but listen, I used to go to events and people come up to me and be like, oh, Big Nasty, I don't know what you look like, but I can't wait for you to go on stage. I'll be like, I'm not Nasty. He's behind me. I'm his manager. Me and Nasty were roughly the same size. Like, you know, he's lost a lot of weight as well. But I was really big. I was like 23 stones and I shed like about 8 stones.
Wow.
No Olympic pen, no, just swimming, you know?
Yeah.
Swimming, I was swimming 6 days a week. Then I lost like 5 stones or so. But I changed my eating pattern. I wouldn't eat till 4 o'clock every day. So I haven't had breakfast or lunch in years, in the last couple of years or so. I just don't do it. I just start eating from 4. So to look at myself in the mirror and be like, I look normal for once, you know? Like, no, because I'll give you actually, I don't want to go off subject, but I remember going to buy some trousers the other day and I called a woman over, I said, sorry, have you got any size 40s here?
Yeah.
And she goes to me, nah, sorry, love, we've only got like 34s. So I said to her, what? No, 40, maybe 38. She goes, who's it for? To me, for myself, she said. She looked at me, she goes, you're 38, 40 to me. Oh my gosh, no, I'm not, you know, I'm 32. I said to her, she started laughing. She goes, why? What? I said, sorry, I've been big for most of my life. So this is the first time I started shopping for smaller sizes.
Yep.
You know, I could go to an airport and if I forgot my jacket, I could buy a jacket in the airport. Because before you just have to look for tall and big or big man clothing. I'm sure you must have really experienced it. You look,
Of course
you
I
look in
have.
great shape. So I don't know if you,
No, I used to be a lot bigger than what I was before.
you know,
And-
so
And it's the stigma that you put on yourself.
of course.
And it's like in a way, it's kind of like a slight trauma as well.
It is. Even though I've slimmed down, I still sit down slowly. You know, to make sure I don't break the chair. You know what I'm saying to you? You know, like, you know, I still, you know, I still got to check myself before I sit down, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you the truth, because it traumatizes yourself, innit? You know, but yeah, I feel great for it now. I'm 14.5 stone. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
You're healthy.
Yeah, and I lift a lot of weights now, so I ripped myself. But yeah, it was like a challenge with myself. That's the only time now I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh wow, you go, lad. You know what I mean?
I love that. So let's talk about your journey into music, because music heals. It helps people. You've been doing it for over 24 years, to be quite fair.
Longer than that.
Yes, yeah, I thought so. So how did your journey begin into music, especially emotionally and connecting with music?
It started off with my love of, you know, the usual, the Jackson 5s and all of that sort of stuff.
100%, yeah.
And, you know, because I came from America, I used to have this fat Michael Jackson afro. It was round like a microphone, yeah? And I remember in infant school, it was like, it's like Michael Jackson and this, that, and the other. So I started getting thinking, who's this Michael Jackson? Even though I heard of him. And then I remember going to Woolworths when it was still open. My mum
I used to love Woolworths.
my mum buying me a Jackson 5.
Yes.
The Jackson 5 CD. It wasn't the tapes these days. It weren't CDs, it was tapes. I remember thinking, this is really good. And I just fell in love with music. And then I think about when I was like 11, 12, I had my cousins from Brixton. They introduced me to NWA.
Yes.
You know, with Dr. Dre and
Yes.
and then Snoop and then I was like, wow. Then, you know, because now this time I started knocking out, because I first got arrested like when I was 11. So like this time I started knocking around the streets. So hip hop was like my go-to music for it, innit? So yeah, that's where the kind of the passion came from. Is that NWA album? I was more West Coast before I turned to East Coast. you know what I'm saying to you? You know, Ice Cube and, you know, that's where the love came from. And then I think about, when I got to about 15, 16, I started kind of like playing around with rap, sort of, like trying to rap. But when I got to that 15, 16, a friend of ours, Overdrive and Resin, yeah, they're two guys from my area, said to me and my mate, Nath, do you not want to come and pirate radio station with us?
Yeah, I know those ones.
They were drum and bass DJs. And I remember them playing me drum and bass and that. And then I remember thinking, wow, because the drum and bass was using a lot of hip hop influenced samples.
Exactly that.
You know, like
Exactly
they're using,
that.
you know, 6 Million Ways to Die. Those are hip hop songs made into drum and bass songs. So I was like, okay, I know this song already from hip hop. So it kind of like made sense for me. And then I started listening to a lot of pirate radio, MC Det, you know, MC Det and DJ Brocky. I'm still, listen, till today, that's the only time I get starstruck. If I see MC Det and then them old school drum and bass MCs. Oh, I remember he saw me in Nasty once and he said, yeah, I'll take a picture of Big Nasty. I said, Nasty, wait, listen, take a picture of that man, bro. Like, this the guy, you know. And Nas told him, Nas goes, listen, my boy Ledge is such a fan of yours. And like, so I'm still a big fan of drum, but that's what got my love into it. So I started going to the drum and Rue de Femme.
Yes.
It was based in Edmonton because we're from Edmonton. So remember the old warehouse where all the drum and bass raves used to be was in our area. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So we would never go in there. We'll wait outside there to do stupidness. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Drum and bass has always been kind of in Edmonton, North London, Edmonton and Hackney. Do you get what I'm
I
saying?
know both of them, yeah.
Yeah, because Cool FM was in Hackney and so was Rush FM, which turned to Kick FM.
That's it.
And Rue de Femme was in Edmonton. So that's where my actual love for the whole music started. I all got arrested in Rue de Femme as well, like, because we used to go into squats and set up the radio. So I remember, but that's where that was the actual love started, you know. And I remember even on being 15 and traveling to Darlington with one of my best friends, Chris. We spent Christmas there at Jamie's house in Darlington. Do you know where Darlington is?
That's far.
It's far.
That's far.
My mum was going bonkers. We stayed there, yeah. We stayed there because Jamie said he could get us a studio to start recording. So, but he said he could only get it around Boxing Day. So me and Chris travelled there on Christmas Eve. And then, I remember me and Chris having to have Christmas dinner by ourselves upstairs. We couldn't eat with his family. It's really weird. God bless him. God bless him. What Jamie's for? He just, we weren't really bothered. We stayed upstairs and spent Christmas upstairs, and then next day, Boxing Day, we went to the studio. You know, that's how hungry we was at 15 for it. You know what I'm saying? On that note, Chris now manages Kenny All Stars, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's one of my best friends still. So
I always say if you have a hunger and a passion for something in your life, it will prevail. It will always work out the way that it is meant to be for you. Sure. And no one can ever stop you. I always say that to people. People seem to think because they're not where they want to be, never look at where somebody else is, because you don't know if your destiny is going to be way bigger and way better. So I always tell people, my advice is don't look at somebody else's success, because your success will be given to you and it will be given a lot greater. And that's when you appreciate it. So you being where you are, because I remember my dad saying to me he used to do pirate radio stations and they always used to be up on the roof. And the reason why they were up on the roof...
I've been up on?
The reason why they used to be up on the roof, because first of all, they can see everyone to see if anyone's trying to come for them. And then the aerials and everything were upstairs, so they know that they can just run and go.
Yeah, sometimes you only do that when you get really desperate, though, because usually the building would be in one place and the aerial will be in the, you know, and sometimes we'll be on that roof when it's snowing. You know, like, yeah, it's crazy what we used to do for that, you know, like, sometimes what we'll do, we'll sometimes leap across. And if you drop, you die, definitely dying. But we do that, put the aerial up, who is the bravest to do it, because we knew by law DTI wouldn't be allowed, because DTI is not allowed to put their lives in danger.
Yes.
So if they, you know, that station, the stations that run for the longest are the ones where the aerials are the most dangerous point, that it's just not worth the job. You know, it's a true story.
So one of the questions, I think even we were talking about it even before we started recording, was what is it about the music industry within education that you find so important? There are people in the world who have an exceptional talent within music, but their mind cannot register about the importance of the business. What would you say is the essential part of knowing about the music business and not just being a talent?
It's a different time, innit? You know, so it's like, it's hard for musicians because it's the same as footballers. You tell a real footballer, you ask a real footballer, would you still play with that money? They'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah, they would, because they love the passion of it.
You know, so it's just people taking advantage of what you love, you know. But then at the same time, you've got to learn to sustain yourself. And for you to sustain yourself, you have to know the business.
Yeah.
But then once again, you have to make a bag of mistakes. Do you get what I'm saying to you? I always tell people, like, make the mistakes, you know. Like, more is lost from being indecisive than making mistakes. At least with mistakes, you learn. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So, yeah, I always told, you know, even all my artists, they'll tell you, I always try and give them business knowledge.
Yes.
Because, you know, because I remember when I first started, I'm not going to say his name because the guy's passed away now, but Nasty knows the story. He was a big person in the media game, and he offered me like 50k for Nasty's publishing. And he said to me, don't worry, I'm going to tell him I offered you 5k, so you could keep 45, this, that, and the other. And I was on my face, you know, and I'm 27 years old, because Nasty's been with me since I was 25.
Yeah.
You know, so I was on my face at the time. I was like, yeah, but you know what? As much as I really wanted to do, I told Nasty, I really wanted to give you a good ripping off, you know. I tell you, he's my brother. I said to him, mate, I was ready to do, but that's my brother, one. I couldn't do that. And two, yeah, he's not going to be naive and young forever.
Exactly that.
He will grow, he will learn.
Exactly that.
And, you know, he'll pick up knowledge on the way, and then he'll turn back 10, 12 years later down the line and say, you took complete advantage of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, until today, he can never say that, you know. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So I turned it down, which was hard. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But believe you me, we made bloody much more than that, innit?
This is what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, you have to be fair to everybody, and especially when people put trust in you. You can't, because not all money is good money. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You want money that you can sleep at night. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Not kind of thing where like, the person look on me for guidance. Because how would you like someone to do that to your child? You would
never.
You know?
Listen, you would never like anyone to do that, anyone, period, if you have a good soul.
Exactly.
If you have a pure heart and a good soul, you would never want anyone to
and also,
try to do that.
And also, it's just not good business. Forget even just morals. Like...
And it's a representation of you as well.
Yeah, having a bad reputation, it's horrible. I never met the man, but look what they're doing to Diddy. You know, like, and who knows, Diddy might not even be a bad person, but because of what people said he's done to people, in his darkest times, nobody even stuck their head out.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm saying to you?
I can see that.
You know? But then if you put on the flip side of it, if that was to happen to like Mike Tyson, people might come out for him. You know, he's just like...
because he's defended people before. So therefore, and it's like anyone, if you have, again, the pureness of who you are and you've defended people in your time, especially, I always say to people, show me who you are when you have nothing, not when you have everything.
Sure.
Because when you show me who you are when you have nothing, that's when you truly know who a person is.
Sure.
So people will always come out for you and with you when bad times come. Now, when you have everything and you're still ripping off people, that says a lot about who you are. And another thing as well, which I'm sure you'll agree with this, your mentors say a lot about you as well, because whoever's mentoring you, you shall also become, unless you make a decision in your life to change the choices of what they've done so you can change.
Most
That's
definitely.
what I always say.
No doubt. I agree. 100% agree.
So that's definitely something how you always keep with me.
Excuse me.
No, totally. In the beginning, I always believed that success always starts with a chance. Who are some of the people in your life that you believe has given you a chance to help you become who you are?
My mother.
There you go.
That's it.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's it, man. She gave us our first offices. We used the top of her shop. You know, my bedroom became an office. My garden was a rave.
My garden was a rave.
You know,
I know those ones.
She was my solicitor in the court cases. You know what I mean? Like my mum's like, strong Igbo Nigerian woman. Like,
we need them.
you know, like one of them ones where dice is nothing without Jesus. You know that kind of woman, like, she'll tell Nasty, he's leading you down a dark path if he doesn't bring you to the Lord. That's how my mum. So, I've never grown up in a household where I've never brought my mum anything. Anything that she thought was way above the means. Like, yeah, she's done very well for herself as well. So she's into properties and all that. But she's, I was raised that. I remember I had my son young, like when I was 18, 19. I remember I was still hustling hard. And I remember buying my son all these baby clothes, this, that, and the other, designer stuff. And he was like 3 months old. I remember my kid's mum coming to my house, back to my house with all the stuff and the goods. I said, what's all this? She goes, your mum, I stopped at your mum's shop on the way with Isaac. That's my son.
Yeah.
He's 25 now. And she goes, what's all this stuff? She looked at the tags and they were like, basically like £400-500. So she goes, she said she forced me to take it back to the shop and she gave me the money, the same amount of money. She goes, take the clothes back and use this money and buy it. I said to her, what do you mean, Vicky? She said, because this money is clean.
Yes, I understand exactly what they're saying.
No, she goes, no one had pain for that money my son gave you.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, I said to her, what are you on about? She goes, she's not fixed. She goes, I know what you lot have been doing on the streets. People tell her this, that, and the other. So she was like, you will not wash my grandchild with your dirty money. So that kind of stuff. And she said to me, you put a curse on the child. Because she said to me, the same way I pray against criminals, robbers, drug dealers, this, that, and the other, I pray against all of them. She goes, believe you me, there's another woman on her knees praying against anything you're doing that's affecting their child.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what she said to me. She goes, the war is not physical, the war is spiritual. So, when you're raised in that notion, do you get what I'm saying to you? So I used to have like a Jaguar at 19. Like, I couldn't park on my road. I used to park way around the corner. Because my mum would see that. And she's like, this is embarrassment. You wake up at 1 in the morning. 1 in the afternoon. You chill and you drive. No structured hours of living. Do you think these neighbours are stupid? So this is embarrassment. Back to the point. Is my mum in it? I've had that kind of,
groundedness from your mother.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There was no, I was doing it to get my mum out of hood stuff. Yeah. It weren't that kind of thing. You couldn't buy her anything. You couldn't.
She was too smart. She already knew.
If you watch Scarface,
Of course.
We always call her Scarface's mum. Scarface's mum, when she loses, you will not do this to Gina. You will not ruin Gina. She was like that kind of woman. Take your dirty money out of this house. When Scarface comes back home and says, yeah, mum, I'm into politics now. She goes, politics? You mean your gun in someone's face? She's that kind of mum, like, so for you to do well is not to have money in my mum's eyes. For you to do well is to have money in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you get what I'm saying to you? So that is one of the things that pushed me.
I always believe in investing because sometimes you may not see it for a while, but it comes back to you in abundance.
Of course.
And I think that's another way as well. But at the same time, when you're growing and learning, which is actually my next question as well, when you're growing and learning, judgment is another factor. We put judgment on ourselves. And I'm going to ask you the question now, which is, a lot of the time, people judge us based upon how we look. Before we even articulate ourselves to speak. If I was to take judgment out of the dictionary, and I said to you, there is no such thing as judgment, Kevin, what would you have done differently in your life, knowing that nobody was judging you?
I don't know. I don't think nothing. my life went the way it was just how it's supposed to.
I knew you was gonna say that.
You know, it's just I've always been an outcast. That's how I've always looked.
That's not a bad thing.
You know, I've not had a normal life. You know, like I've never had a job. I've never sat an exam. I've got no qualifications. I've got no GCSEs. I think the only exam I ever sat was a driving test. I've never had an interview for a job, or for the longest I couldn't even remember my NI number. Like it's weird, isn't it? So I've gone from that to straight into corporate boardrooms and all that sort of stuff. So it's just kind of picking up along the way. So I've always been an outcast, so I wouldn't change anything because, you know, at the same time, it's got me to here. Like, you know, like when I speak to people and I go to all of these swanky events and all this crap, and
I know how you feel.
People tell me their life story, and I hear my life story because mine's so much juicier because I had it hard, went the hard way. You know, Most of my friends are dead, if not doing life. Some of them, like, I've seen both sides of the spectrum, and I've had top 10s, BAFTA Awards. I've seen both sides.
Yeah,
you know, I've seen both sides of what life can give. So I wouldn't change anything because I don't care about being judged. You know, like,
I like that.
Yeah, like,
it means you're comfortable in your skin.
Yeah, I just don't care.
I think there's a confidence that we find as we grow older. And then there's a lady that I interviewed and she gave it to me proper. She said, when we're in our 20s, we learn to make mistakes. So when we're in our teenager years and in our 20s, we learn to make mistakes. When we get to our 30s, we start deciding, you know, I need to start having something in my mind. We start wanting to lay down a foundation. And in our 40s, we start wanting to build on that foundation. But she said, when she got to 50, she got to, I don't give a fuck. Because it was, throughout her whole life, she's always been judged. Anyways, regardless of who she was. So then she got to a point in her life where she said, I don't care anymore and I don't have to care. So for me, it just feels like you're telling me that you're comfortable enough in your skin. It's not that you don't care and it's in a bad way. There is I don't care and it's a good way. Same where there is selfishness, it's because you love yourself and it's called self-worth. And we all need that at the best of times, especially when we're at our lowest point. But now I feel that you've just come to a place where where you're comfortable enough to know that you deserve what you deserve, and that's enough.
Yeah, you know, it's. I just look as nothing's changed. It's still 0-0. You know, I've always fought. I've been to over 35 countries or so. I've never gone on a holiday. It's all been business. You know. Shows, performances, radio tours with Nas, this, that, and the other. It's all been business. Don't get me wrong. People come around me and be like, mate, like, you lived wow. Your life is lit. You can, but it's just all work for me. I just look at it as work. It's always been, I registered my first business at 16. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yep.
Like, I don't know if I registered it correctly. I got my cousin to do it for me. But, like, I've always... And I had my first office, like, when I was 18, 19, I had the pirate station and we owned. Well, we didn't own it. A guy called Chris J owned it, then he went jail and he passed it over to us. But I was like 19, we had a pirate station with 80 MCs and DJs. Some of the biggest names that you know till today was on there. And then we had an office in Tottenham and a studio in East London. That was at 19, so there's the pirate station, just before my 20th actually. The pirate station was in Edmonton, the office was in Tottenham, and the studio was in Jamestown, Bethnal Green.
I know that.
You know, and we used to travel between those three places. So I've always kind of like laid my foundations from young. I knew what I wanted. From a kid, I knew what I wanted. I said to people like, I remember, I think around 97, 98, when Jay-Z and all of that was coming out, I remember seeing like, raw, these people talking about drugs, but they're doing corporate stuff. I remember seeing Master P,
Yeah.
you know, No Limit and all this sort of stuff. So, you get inspired, innit? So you're like,
Yep.
yeah, there was no, once you know what you want to be, I always tell people, it's just a film to me, this.
Yep.
And I decide what character I'm going to play. And I've told people say to me, yeah, but, obviously I said my mum is my role model, but outside of my mum, your mentors are everywhere around you. They're in films.
Everything.
They're in books.
Yep.
You don't have to personally know them.
They're
You
in
know what I'm
books,
saying to you?
songs, films.
I watched 5 films. I bet you I see my mentor in a couple of them. You watched Godfather 1. I learned so much from Vito Corleone.
There you go.
People, like, my kids will tell you, I'm a hands-on dad, yeah? But I remember watching Godfather and Vito saying, do you look after your child? And he goes, yes, I do. Because a man cannot be a man that don't look after his kids. I remember thinking, yeah, this guy's the boss. He's saying that. So it was, like...
It is true.
So you can pick up stuff from books, films, and, you don't have to personally know the person to imitate and, that's the basis of it.
Do you know what? I am going to ask you the question regardless, but I have a feeling I'm going to know the answer. So it's, if there was one song and one movie that was the soundtrack and the film that represents your life, what song would you choose, and also what film would you choose to represent who you are as a person?
Definitely got to be The Godfather.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say.
I watched that a million times. definitely. Only because of the discipline within it, but at the same time, it could be something like that, or Godfather 2. You know what I mean? And I think for music-wise, even Dead Presidents by Jay-Z,
Yeah, I know that one.
or if I really want to be practical, Organised by Asake.
There you go.
Do you get what I'm saying to
Yep.
you? Every day I get organised. Do you get what I'm saying to you? They're
I like that one.
but I definitely feel, Dead Presidents by Jay-Z is something that rings very, very true to me.
One of my favorite questions I like to ask about people, if there was one question that you wished people would ask you, but nobody has ever asked you this question, what would it be and why?
Why am I so good looking? I'm joking. Everyone asks me anything, you know what I mean? You never wish for anyone to ask you a question, do you?
Sometimes you might wish for someone to ask you. There's a lot of people it's funny. There's a lot of people in the world that want someone to ask them how they really are, because there's a different terminology of asking how somebody really is. You ask someone how they are just as a kind gesture. So you say, hey, you're right, how are you? The first time. And then people will say, yeah, I'm okay. But that's not really digging into who they are. But then on the second time, I've noticed when you ask who they are, they get a little bit deeper. But on the third time, then a person will tell you how they really are. So I think it's just understanding that there are some people in the world who want people to ask them certain questions, but nobody ever really asks them that question. So,
well, if, maybe my artist is going to ask me every now and again, how the hell are you going to pay for this?
Don't worry, I got it sorted.
That's a good question that I would like people to ask me, actually. How are we going to pay for this? The video costs like 15, 20K. How are we going to pay for this? I've got no sponsors. If they don't want to sponsor it, I've got to fork it out. How are we going to pay for this? They're the questions, I wish sometimes people would ask.
Yeah.
Like, how is this getting covered? So, that's.
No, that's definitely okay. So the next one for you is, what is the best advice you have ever received that has helped you in your life? And I have a feeling it's going to come from many people.
I know this might not rest well with certain people, but I think one of the best advice I've ever been given is from my mum, which is put God first in everything that you do. Try and put God first as much as possible. And it's so hard to believe in something that you can't see, like oxygen, but you still believe in it. But,
100%.
But I always tell people, put God first, and I tell children that as well. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, do not think you're here by immaculate conception. there is a greater power than everybody here, and the way this game works, you won't know until you die. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It might be a bit too late. It's not about heaven or hell. It's about tap into that source. You don't, I don't like to call myself Christian. I am a Christian though, but my mum says I don't behave like one, so I'm a hypocrite. So I don't like to. That's what she says. She goes, God hates nothing worse than hypocrites. You're there smoking. You're telling the whole world you're Christian. This is not what we are. So stuff like that. But once again, I do like to tell people, whether you're Christian, Muslim, whatever religion you are, do you get what I'm saying to you? At least believe in a power. And I also tell people this as well. It gives you some form of consciousness. Imagine a world leader that hasn't got a belief that nothing's going to be judged or how they're going to be judged after they leave this world.
Yeah.
You'd be blowing up everywhere.
True.
Because you believe after this is done, you just go to bed and you'll be non-existent. But if you knew that you had to pay for some of these actions that you did while you were alive, it will give you that, telling you, even when I was on the roads, I used to, certain things I wouldn't do, weren't about the police. Weren't about, who
It was
cares?
about your conscience.
Yes, because the police can give you 25 years, that's one thing. But the other power will give you an eternity of that. You don't want that. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So I always tell kids all the time, when all your smart ideas, when all of it's done, when one thing we all do, even those that pretend to be atheists and this, that, and the other, when the lights go off and you lie in bed, sometimes even people don't believe in God, they'll be like, whoever you are out there, just help me. And you have to understand.
Yeah, it's true.
That's my cheat code.
Yeah.
That's how look all these damn awards I've got. It's against the grain. This can only be done through, prayer. And you might say you don't pray, but believe you me, someone do you know is praying for you.
Yes.
So you might not pray. So you're thinking, well, I don't pray. I don't get all this good stuff happening. Mate, you might not pray, but someone is praying on your behalf.
Yes, they're manifesting it for you.
Do you get what I'm saying to you? Yes. I think that's the best advice I like to give to tell people. My situation ain't through smart. Well, it's a bit of it, being smart and then, ambitious and driven, this, that, and the other. But none of that wouldn't matter if I weren't humble enough to get on my knees and ask for forgiveness, and also let everybody know that this ain't you. This is, you know what I'm saying to you? No matter how much money you got, if you haven't got look at Elon Musk. Look how who wouldn't want to be Elon Musk? But look at the hell that he's going through.
Yes.
Look, you know what I'm saying to you?
Yep.
I'm sure you speak to people even no disrespect. I've got so much respect for the man. But like Jay-Z doesn't talk a lot about God. He does, he doesn't seem very religious to me. But I'm sure, with in his spare time, if he doesn't believe in God, he must feel lonely.
There's a lot of people in the world, Kevin, who feel lonely because they wanted all this materialistic wealth.
Doesn't mean nothing.
Things. This is what I'm saying.
Doesn't mean anything.
This is exactly what I'm saying. But the two things in life, I think, that are the strongest powers that you can ever have within yourself is happiness and love. Yeah. Without those two, all that materialistic thing, it can sustain you for maybe, I don't know, a week or a month.
Doesn't
but
mean anything.
It doesn't mean it will fade.
It doesn't. Doesn't compare to love of children, the love of family, love of friends. You know what I'm saying to you? All that music and all that stuff, it lasts a minute. Look how many, I don't keep going on, but I've won multiple awards. I've stopped counting, over 25, 30, who knows. TV, music, loads of awards. And I tell people all the time, it lasts 5 minutes when I go and collect that award. The feeling lasts 5 minutes. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It's like everything else in life, not to sound crude, but people, they'll make love for 45 minutes. Climax for 30 seconds or a minute or two. This is what life's. I tell people all the time, make sure you find don't search for material stuff. Can never make you happy. I didn't do so well because I wanted to buy cars or anything like that. I thought I did. But then I realised I just enjoyed winning. And then when I accomplished something, I got miserable. It used to make me miserable. Like, every award I won, I get miserable right after the award.
Why? What was it? There has to be something within it that made you feel like that.
Yeah, it just was like clocking the game, innit? You know, like...
Street Fighter.
Yeah, I feel like Ryu. You know, Ryu at the end of Street Fight, he doesn't celebrate.
No.
He goes
just walks off.
Looking for the next fight.
Yeah.
And that's what I do it for the challenge. You get what I'm saying to you? Not for the trophies. Obviously, as a businessman, you do it for money as well, but it's just, I enjoy a good tear up.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't do it. Watch. All right, sure. I did it last year. I'm going to do it this year again. Oh, you don't want to sign? All right, watch, I'm going to show you. It's that, like, people underestimating me.
I think that's what it is for you as well.
Yeah.
And that's where that judgment comes in, that judgment factor. Because people are already judging you, Kevin.
Yeah.
You turn around and say, okay, you're going to judge me. I'm going to show you now. But then I'm
not just going to show you, I'm going to spank you on top of it.
There you go. You know? There you go. That's the thing. But then when you do it and they're gobsmacked at the fact that you do it, that's when they humble themselves. That's what it is as well. But for you, I think there's something in it that makes you unhappy because you've had to do it.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's always been 0-0. It's you know, like, what's crazy is like, I remember someone said to me a few years back, because I've lectured at Eton Boys College. Eton is where Prince Harry went to school and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. When I lectured there, someone said to me like, wow, you've won BAFTA Awards, you've lectured at Eton. That's where all the 19 prime ministers went there. How do you feel talking to all those powerful kids, this and the other? I said, it's still 0-0. Then he goes, what do you mean? I goes, look, all the stuff that's happened, awards, all of this sort of stuff, it didn't come out, I didn't do it trying to achieve all these great things. I did it just to try and stay out the nick. You know, I was just trying to stay on the straight and narrow. But somehow I was trying to it ended up doing all these miraculous, you know, these great things because that weren't, the intention was me with the BAFTA. He told me that when I was chilling on the council blocks and the estates, this, that, and the other. I was lost. What?
Yeah, but you have to remember someone was praying for you.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the power.
Exactly. You're right, my sister. Exactly. You know, so I think that's, for me, that's all it was. You know, trying to start a trouble, end up being successful. But up until now, I'm just still trying. I looked at it like we're still trying to start a trouble.
But to be fair, all the greatest people in the world, or some of the greatest people in the world, like Nelson Mandela, you name them, they've always been in trouble.
Yeah, well.
But they're great people. The things that they have done, they'll always be remembered because they are great people in what they've done. That I think it was my grandma who said to me, a woman who doesn't cause trouble doesn't get remembered. That's what my grandmother said to me. And then at first I didn't completely understand it because I always thought a bit like your mum when you're saying, you know, God and stuff. But she meant use your knowledge, use your power. Do not let nobody diminish your light. And there's nothing wrong with getting in trouble if it's for the right circumstances.
Yeah, listen, if it's for the right reasons, I'll chuck it all in. Like I don't really give a damn. Like
100%.
If it's for the right reasons, I'll chuck it all in. They'll tell you, even if there's 3 million there in the account and the project's 3.2 million, I need to find 200k.
There you go.
And I might be homeless after it. You know, but like,
but it will come back. It will come back.
It's just that mentality though. Like, just throw it all in, mate. Like, who cares, man? Have fun with it. Like, don't ever take it too serious. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't ever take yourself too serious. Yeah. You know, like,
I've learned that.
Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. I've learned that. When was the last time that you felt totally at peace with yourself?
Do you know, it's weird you said that because I was thinking about that the other day, and I don't think I have.
You're not the first person to say that.
I don't think I've. Remember, I came here at 5.5.
Yes.
I didn't get my stay straight away.
Yeah.
They gave me, where they gave me stay to be in this country. I remember from a kid, my mum used to use that to me all the time. You know, you carry on. They'll just deport you. They take back the passport and you go. And she say to me, you know what? You know where they'll send you back to New York. I go, no, I'll go and stay with grandma in Nigeria. You're not Nigerian. You've got no Nigerian passports. They're going to send you back to where you was born. And we have no family in New York, so you be there by yourself.
Well, actually, now they might send you back to Nigeria because now they're just deporting everyone all over the place.
But my mom goes like, because I haven't got a Nigerian passport. I've got both passports I've got is British and American.
Yeah.
So she used to say to me, you know, so from the age of 8, I've had anxiety for one sort or another. That I started getting arrested at 11. That I was on report from school. First, year 7, I got suspended twice in year 7.
I remember
4
being on
times
report.
in year 8.
Yep.
3 times in year 9 that I got expelled. So I was on report from the second week I started secondary school.
Yep.
I left secondary school. And my mum believed that built anxiety for me. I was always worried because I remember I'm on report. I got court. I've had a court case every year in my life since I was 11. So imagine being, you know, stealing cars, breaking windows, all sorts from a child. So being 12 years old, wondering am I going to get, because Mr. Clark, I'll call your name, I hope he's alive still. Mr. Clark used to have a board, used to be his hit board.
Yeah.
And on that board is all the names of all the people he's planning to get out within the next 2 years, he said.
What?
And everyone that got suspended. And you're so crazy. Out of 10 names, 7 of them went to my junior school. So we're the Eldon junior school kids.
Yep.
And so every year, every 3 months, this person, Simon Clark, got expelled. And then I'll move from number 8 to number 7. Sandy, I ain't gonna call his surname, he got expelled, yeah? And I moved to number 6. So, you know, you're just waiting. So having that and court cases.
That sounded like a malicious teacher.
Yeah, it was very malicious. You know, and, you know, but having all of that, you have anxiety, nothing but anxiety. You know what I'm saying to you? Because you're worried. You know, am I going to get this today? Because no child wants to get expelled from school.
No.
No child wants to get expelled, no matter what anyone tells you. You know, and so, but one of the teachers used to be good. You know, some were nice to me. Some would let me, like one of my art teachers used to let me go to write me letters to say that I weren't truanting, because she used to go, because I used to leave the class. She goes, where are you going? And she goes, just be honest with me, I'll write you your letter out. So if the truant officers stop you, I said, I'll be honest. I'll go to Playworld. She goes, where's that? I goes, the arcade centre.
Yeah.
She goes, what'd you do there? I said, you don't want to know. She goes, and she goes, I will never tell you. She was so good to me. I said, I'll be honest. I go there with my friends, and then we follow the crackheads. And she goes, the crackheads? I goes, yeah. I remember I'm like 12 and a half, 13, and she goes, you know what crackheads are? I goes, yeah, they smoke. She goes, I'll follow them, and they'll go downstairs, and me and my mates will watch while they steal the bacon from the butchers. Then they'll go upstairs, and we'll sell it, I'm not going to call his name, to the owner of Playworld, yeah, and he will give us money for it.
Yeah.
And then they'll give me money, and she goes, what'd you do with money? I go, I'll save some, and the rest I used to play arcade games. She goes, she read me out my note. She goes, you're learning commerce. That's what she said to me.
Yes.
She goes, that's what she said. So,
yes.
yeah, so, you know what I mean? So my point back to it is that I've never had peace. A day I don't think I've ever had. I've had peace when I'm with my children, sometimes, when they're not annoying me, you know. But I don't really ever, when I sleep, I guess, I just, like I went on holiday.
I think your mind is working overtime. I think that's what it is as well.
Like my youngest kid's mum took me on holiday like 5 years ago. And then I promised that I wouldn't bring my mobile. I'll bring my phone with me, but I'll leave it in the apartment when we go to the beach and that. And she goes, I've never seen you so miserable in my life. She goes, you sat looking at the waves like you was going to cry. She goes, I said, what do you mean? She goes, you look so depressed. She said, but she goes, as soon as you got back, you ran to the phone. Your phone was up here. She goes, you was back into normal. She goes, like, without working, you're a miserable person. Like, because I said, it's the truth. Like, why am I going to go onto the beach side and stare at the waves? I look at the waves for like 5 minutes. Then I look at the more of the waves for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I look at the sun. Then I start thinking, wow, the sea's so wide. Where does this go to? Then I start thinking, why is the sea that colour? Then I start thinking, is there any sharks in there? Then I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, but then you're thinking. That's the good thing about it, is that you're actually thinking.
Yeah, but I'm bored out my nut.
Rather than being on your... It's because, you know what it is? Society has made people be a magnet to their mobile phone. It's a magnetized
I'm just not good at just. I think too much thinking would drive me nuts. You know, like I remember I've lost so many. I think I've had more deaths than the average people. Like,
I understand that.
Like, I mean, deaths. I remember even thinking. I remember one time I had three of my friends in my garden with me, and my little brother's friend came, and we sent him to the shop, and he brought back some Rizzler and all that for us. I remember about a year later, everyone in that garden was dead, including my brother's friend. My brother's friend got killed in front of my brother and my mum, and like, you know, we've had murders, you know, like around us, and I've like all those 4 people in my garden were dead within. Listen, man, like, yeah, you know, like I've gone through a lot where all the success in the world couldn't change it because the things that matter to me, you know, a Netflix deal, another nasty top 10, like, it can't change it. It can't change it. Do you get what I'm saying to you? I've had very, very close deaths, close friends of mine, very, very close friends of mine. And yeah, and you know, once you witness so much people, it got to a point I was getting fascinated with death, you know, like if you went to my house or my mum's when I was in my 20s, because I came back to stay at my mum's for about a year after I split up with my ex. Like 2021, it was just full of like death posters, you know, like death's round the corner and it's only a bullet away and stuff like that. And I think I was just preparing myself in case I got killed or if I died, because it was just happening so frequently.
Yeah.
You know, so frequently. And, you know, I've touched many dead hands. Like, you know, my friends in the casket, touching them, feeling the hand like clay. And, you know, yeah, it's had an effect, you know.
It has had an effect, even the lights went off.
Stand up, B.
Go on, B. There you go.
Yeah, you know, it's had that, you know, where it's been a mental fuck and a mind fuck, and you know what I'm saying to you, you know, that's, yeah, it's why I don't play, you know. I make sure I get the job done, because tomorrow's not promised.
That is true.
You know
I've always been told that.
It's not promised. It's not promised. I've had people die from gunshots, stabbings, to natural deaths, you know, and you know, it's just, I had one of my friends asking me what should he wear to my mate's funeral, only to die a couple of days later and got buried before the person's funeral was trying to. Yeah, it's true stories. Big up DJ Chubby, like Jared, you know, like, yeah, man, it's a lot. It's a lot. That's why I relate with Nasty a lot, because Nasty, if you think I've seen death, he's seen. Oh my gosh, Nasty's been through hell and back. Not like it's so normal for him. Yeah, like, listen, when my dad died, Nasty broke the news to me of my dad's death in the most cold-hearted way the word could do it. He phoned me at 8:30 in the morning. No, about 9, just before 10, because I remember looking at time and I was thinking, why is he calling so early? I said, yeah, well, I got with him. Yo, cuz, yeah, bro, you heard about your dad? I'm like, what about my dad? He goes, blood, your dad is dead, G. I'm like, what would you say to him? Your dad's dead, cuz. I just spoke to your brother. I was like, my dad's dead. He goes, yeah, man, you just got off the phone to your brother. And he goes to me, shit is real, ledge. I was like, wow, let me phone my mum. And then before I phoned my mum, I kind of knew it was real, so I put the phone down. I cried for a bit. Called my mum. My mum was like, my mum's a bitch. She goes, yeah, your dad passed last night. I'm like, in Nigeria. I'm like, what? I said, how are you doing about it? She's like, yeah. You know, my dad left when I was 15, but we're still kind of not close, but, you know, it's my dad. And then I said to her, all right, cool. I put the phone down and Nasty coming back. He goes, yeah, you're all right. Yeah. He goes, forget studio today then. I goes, no, we're going to go studio. We're still going to go.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I go, yeah, we're going to go. So, listen, me and Nasty buried Nasty's dad and went on tour. We took our tour bus to the funeral, got off the tour bus, buried his dad. You know what I mean? Like, do you get what I'm saying to you? His brother came and we went, buried his dad and went back on the Craig David tour. And he went on stage at Cardiff and said to everybody, just buried my dad. we're gonna party tonight for my dad. You know, like
celebration.
But it's you just got to remain strong through this whole thing, so people understand. I've done this through not just my death, Nasty's dad, both our dads' deaths and friends' deaths, and you know, like it's But I'm sure people have gone through much harder stuff. Do you get what I'm saying to you? If you look at those kids and, you know, those families that lose their children in Palestine, and even you know, like in wars in general, in Iraq and them sort of stuff. So no matter what you think your pain is, there's somebody going through something much more horrendous. So, you know what I mean? Don't sweat it.
The beautiful thing about life is that there are people who can relate to what you're going through. Excuse me. So that's another thing as well. I've only got 2 more for you. So the second to last one is, everybody has a different definition of what legacy means. Some people think that legacy means passing away, and then people contributing to what you have done in the world. But I believe a legacy is what you do every day, how you touch people, how you speak to people. What does legacy mean to you?
Oh, it depends how you look at it. Legacy is it's your name, your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how you're remembered. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But it's also, you got to be careful, because it's who's attached to your legacy.
That is true.
You know, because, you know, imagine Hitler. His great-great-granddad was thinking there was something great for the Hitler family. You know, we're going to go, one of my grandchildren's going to go into construction, this, that, and the other. Then you find out one of your grandchildren ends up wanting to ruin the whole gaff.
Yep.
You know, or being Jimmy Savile's dad. No disrespect. You know, because you don't know what your children can tarnish your. I think, and this is what I tell people: don't ever be hung up on legacy. Legacy doesn't mean shit. I tell people this. You know what they say? Third generation creates it. Second generation takes it worldwide. Third generation blows it. That's why you see them rumors of, you know, the great grandson of Johnson & Johnson's begging outside the Johnson & Johnson building.
There you go.
Do you get what I'm saying to you? And say, this is named after me, actually. Legacy doesn't mean anything. You really want to leave a legacy, do something for mankind. Do something that's going to benefit not just your children, everyone else's children, so we can all enjoy. If you're going to have a legacy, I think the only legacy that matters really is a legacy that helps everyone. So if your family invented the light bulb, or do you know what I mean? Like look, the Big Nasty Show is like one of the longest. I think it's the longest running talk black TV show in UK history. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Before that was Ian Wrights and Richard Black was ours. Nasty and Mo's show is the longest, and I think Mo's might be after it the most awarded show. And that's off us. You know, like Mo's show's separate, but I mean, like, I look at it as the whole same thing. Do you get what I'm saying to you? But I don't care about legacy. That I've had what is the longest running talk black TV show? The only thing I might say to people, all right, you've opened up I broke through certain ceilings for people.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying to you? But really, what have I done for humanity? Which is most important. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Some TV shows and a few 100 million streams. That's great for you, nimble-minded. You get what I'm saying to you? You know, low worth. You get what I'm saying to you? That doesn't mean anything to me. You know, if I find a way that, you know, can mainly help children, or like just help, that I've added something to us, but you know, the people take away, they can help the rest of their lives and help. That's a legacy. So it's hard to look at legacy as anything, because it can so easily be destroyed by people connected to you, by your family. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Usually it's the people closest to you.
Or you could be yourself. Look at Elon Musk, had a great legacy. Look what he's doing to his legacy now.
He done that by greed.
Maybe it's by greed, maybe it's by greed, but it's just
And power.
Yeah,
Power.
because power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So it's one of those things. Do not worry about your legacy. And a good example of that as well is it is good here and there if it's done right. Like, for instance, you got like my favourite basketballer, aside from Michael Jordan, Steph Curry.
Okay.
Yeah, Steph Curry's the best shooter ever in the history. But I get joy watching YouTube shorts with Steph Curry and his dad. His dad used to play as well. And it's the joy of watching your son carry your surname and this, that, and the other. They're kind of legacies that you want, like what you've taught that child.
Yeah.
Or like watching Lionel Messi's dad. Watching it, these are the legacies, what you put into your children, and not so much your... Because if you're worried about your legacy, and I find that those people that hung up about their legacy, God's got a funny way to teach them. And I know it's just a program, but have you watched Game of Thrones?
Yes, of course.
One of my favourite characters, what's his name? Lannister.
Yes.
It's Tywin Lannister, the dad, right? He was so hell-bent on legacy. Everything was legacy with him. But he ended up getting killed by his son.
But that's another thing as well.
You put anything that you put emphasis in too much without God behind it, he will teach you. Everything that you thought was something, I'm going to teach you. So that's just the perfect example. I know it's a film, but you can find truth in those films. Tywin Lannister was so hell-bent on his legacy, but the legacy he was remembered for was his son was shagging his daughter, and his youngest disabled son killed him. There you go for legacy, because that's all you concentrate on was legacy. There you go. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Anybody that's always hung up about legacy, you watch the Most High teach you.
But that's the same as material.
Yeah, don't worry about legacy. Worry about the human legacy, what we can do for each other as one. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope I haven't confused you.
You haven't confused me at all, because there's something about being a humanitarian, which I believe is a beautiful thing in what you do. Yeah. And I understand the whole purpose of everyone has a different definition of what legacy is and does. Some people don't believe in it at all. I've had so many conversations with so many people, which I find so gratifying within myself, that I learn every time I have a conversation with someone. Sometimes I even like the fact that we don't agree, because you find that middle line where you take something from them, they take something from you. So I completely understand where you're saying to me that some people might not care about a legacy. It's just about being kind. For me, it's about kindness and compassion. That's what works for me.
That's what I teach my kids all the time. All my kids, I've got 3 children, 25, 20, and 8. My daughter's 20, and I teach all the time. Business first. All my sons, they're all about business, but they know, most importantly, we always put God first, and I keep going on about God. I don't want to sound like, a basher.
I think it's, what it is that certain times when you talk to certain people, they bring out something from you.
Yeah, and because I think, there's so much successful people out there, and they never, as time goes on, it's always about, like to big up my team and like to thank everybody but you don't thank God. You get what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
And by letting everybody know that God is what helps you do all of these things and helps you build your legacy, this, that, and the other. Me and you and everybody else in this world, we've all got the same resource then.
Yes.
The same person I'm getting my help from and advice from, you could get the same help and advice. There's no secret bank manager or
no restrictions
or no investor that I know that you don't know, because the main investor, we've all got access to the main investor.
There you go.
Same access I've got, you've got access. It's my creator is your creator.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying to you? So whether you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, yeah. And some people tell them, bro, man's not really religious like that. Man's more into like the spiritualism, and I'm like, listen, whatever you want to be into, wherever listen, wherever you just please just don't think it all stops at you. That's through this whole interview. I always want to try and get out to people. Is, do not ever be worried about any position you're in life.
Yeah.
Anything you want to change. Remember, I'm a screw up. I was born to be. I was looked as. Do not let that child around your child. You know, my mum used to tell other people's children, other people's mums. Even my best friend Nath that owns the company, he would tell you with me. Nath, my business partner. We've been doing business since we're like 9 years old. Yeah. My mum used to tell his mum, keep Nathan away from him. Nathan is so good. He would destroy him. I'm telling you, my mum used to say to other people's children all the time, like, and Nathan's mum would stick up for me, go, no, Vicky, Nathan's just sly. He just knows how to get away with it. You know, she used to stick up for me. Because my mum looks at everyone else's children as hers. So she would be like, don't be around him. You know, she told some of my friends, like, she would look at them and be like, why are you with these lot? You are good. You know, like, they don't want to listen, you know. So I've always been, do you get what I'm saying?
Okay,
It's
yeah,
that kind of, you know, like, it's about, you know, I try and make sure everyone knows that this whole thing is, it's not about you.
Yeah.
That's why I just want to try. It's not, and I've had it instilled into me.
Yeah.
It's about everybody, you know. So yeah, that's.
You're seeing it as a community, as everyone uniting together. So no, I understand it.
100%.
I understand it completely. So my last question for you is, finally, before I even have the chance to say thank you to you for coming on the show, is if anybody would like to just find out more about you, where can they find you?
Well, I don't do social media.
100%.
Yeah, I'm terrified of it. Imagine posting what you've eaten. You know what I'm saying?
I couldn't do that.
But I'm on LinkedIn though, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm on LinkedIn, and they want to find me there, or Dice, the company's got social medias.
Yeah.
You can always reach out to them. But yeah, that's, you know, I'm a very, very, very private person. You know,
that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
Sometimes I even think that when you're a private person, more people want to know more about you because you are a private person.
Yeah, do you know how many times I've been told to, you know, don't stand on the wire at one of my sets, or, you know, sorry, so you can't go past this line. I said, I should be able to. I'm paying for this, you know, like, you know, but it's good because you get to see people for who they are. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Quickly.
Yeah, because no one knows, you know,
Quickly.
like even, you know, no one knows that, you know, everything we have, we own. You know, all them TV shows, anything you see, we own. You know, I've never done a deal, and I love the fact that nobody knows, you know, I ain't going to say who, but I remember someone at Channel 4 said, I didn't look at it as, it weren't racist, it wasn't, but, you know, you could take it how you want. They said to me, oh, Kev, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't want to go up to collect your BAFTAs. I heard that you lot got this thing about not going up to collect your awards. You know, because every year I used to be nominated for maybe 3-4 awards every year for TV and music. And I had to say we were the only company that used to win awards in TV and music independently, apart from Universal. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like everybody, I don't see no one from the music industry at the TV awards. I don't see no one.
That's actually quite true.
I don't see no one from the TV industry in the music awards when we're winning on both sides. Do you get what I'm saying? Especially black-owned and independent. You know, and what is so crazy, they used to say to me, oh, you lot got this thing about not going up to collect your awards, and like, where are you hiding from? I'm like, nothing to do with hiding from anything, but you lot don't ask who's the owner of Sainsbury's, who's the owner of Tesco's. But, you know, I think, you know, to our, you know, not to our detriment, but black people, we've got to think about showboating. That's what we're known for, you know, like, and I think it's best to just be humble, be grateful, stay in the background, you know, don't have too much of opinions, you know, don't ask me my opinion on too many things or politics, this, that and the other, or anything like that. And just, you know, you be kept safe that way. And if I'm not posting and tweeting stuff and this, that and the other, I never have an opinion. So when anything goes pear-shaped, you don't expect anything from me anyway, because I never talk anyway. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So, you know, I've been requested for over like maybe 100 interviews in my lifetime. I've done this this is the third interview I've ever granted.
And I'm humbled for
You
it.
know, you get what I'm saying to you? Because I looked at you lot's background, it weren't, you know, I got how many times I've been asked to do one extra cabinet? I said, no, I'm not, it's not what it's for, man. Do you get what I'm saying to you? I'm not, you know, yeah, I'm the industry kind of guy, like, hey, you know what I mean? I'm not that, you know, no, I'm not that way inclined. I look at it like,
You have a higher purpose of what your meaning is.
my job is making people famous. So why the hell do I want to be famous?
Exactly that.
And, you know, I think same reason my kids are not on social media. You know, it's hard for them at that age, but, you know, because I've led by example, you know, their mum's on social media before they are. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You know, it's the truth. It's the truth. You know, their mum's on social. I told the kids, don't do socials, you know, and they use it for their businesses. But because I've led by that example, they're looking like, and I said, look, come on, man. If I wanted to be on Instagram, do you know how lit my Insta would look? It would look lit, but if I'm going to show the people the lit times, I have to show them all the bad times, and I don't want to do that.
There you go.
So hence the reason being private. So to wrap this up, I do want to tell everybody, I want to big up my whole team of starters as well.
I like that.
My whole Dice Recordings, Dice Production team, everybody that works with us, and obviously all the artists, and also, you know, generally to Big Nasty, like obviously Nasty's been loyal to me for over 20 years. Do you get what I'm saying to you? You know,
that's a trust.
yeah, man. You know, he came to me as MC Nasty, turned into Big Nasty.
I like that.
You know, and he's always been loyal. He's always, it's my little brother. That's how I look at it. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know, like, how old was Tyrone now? 38, 39? He came to me when he was 19, you know. So it's like my brother. It's not a...
Do you know what it is, Kevin? The one thing I love about doing face-to-face interviews is that I get to see the gratification and the sincerity of what you say when you say it. Other people might not be able to see it, obviously, because this is audio. But for me, it's seeing the sincerity of what you say.
Well, you're in my office. It's only Nasty's on the flipping walls. You know, the other artists come in like, what are we, a mirage? Like, what is this? You know, Nasty has his meetings here. This is his office. Look, this is his plaques up there.
That's true, actually.
You know, my BAFTAs are from him. Like, it's all, do you know what I'm saying to you? It's not, you know, it's like, you know, I become very proud. You know, I'm very proud.
I know you are.
I'm very, you know, when I see him on TV, and people don't understand, he's not meant to be on TV. Like, that guy is, you know, he's as gangster as it gets, man. Like, you got to know his background and knowing, like, where he's from and, you know, what he's been through. Like, I remember talking to Giggs once, the rapper Giggs, and Giggs knows Nasty longer than I have.
Yeah.
From their days on the streets, and he said, he told me, he goes like, yeah, I really know Tyrone, the real Tyrone. Well, right, whatever that means, you know what I'm saying to you? Like, you know, and Giggs has always been supportive of Nasty as well. You know, like, what you see with Nasty, and that's why I want to end it, is like, with him, it's like, what you see is what you get. And you know, through the years, I've always tried to kind of protect him to a certain way of, like, make him be a certain way, but you can't change the guy. He's going to be Bush forever. Yeah. I tell him, Tyrone, we're in Essex, you can't smoke weed outside this restaurant, bro. Like, he don't care. He'll lap right outside that restaurant, tell him I've got my weed card on me, they can't tell me anything.
My weed card?
Yeah, but it's weird because the places you know, because remember, we get invited to all of these award ceremonies, some real bougie places. And I say to him before we get there, like, bro, I beg, bro, like, you know, I'm here to, I don't believe in networking, but there might be some good links here. Like, bro, just be on your A game. No, I don't need people coming up to me and say, oh, Big Nasty smoke at the front, Keita. You'd only go there to see him do everything I told him not to do, but he's smoking with, like, the posh lords.
Oh, trust me. I have some stories for you.
I saw him smoking with the, you know, the guy from Breaking Bad. Yeah,
I have some stories for you.
Yeah, you know, like, he brings the hood out of people. So it's like, I'm like, what are you doing? And it's like, yeah, but he's smoking too. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, he's, yeah, you're never going to get it like that. And I think for me, that's one of my proudest accomplishments, that, you know, he's a household name now. He's you know, he's big worldwide. I'm telling you, we get off the plane places, they know him, like, do you get what I'm saying to you? Everywhere. Do you get what I'm saying? You know, someone sent me a picture that was really made me proud of. It was in West London. I don't know what restaurant it is this, yeah, but there was 3 posters on the wall. It was Malcolm X, Bob Marley, and Big Nasty. And
I like that.
That's well, I've done it now. Like, if that's how they look at it, he's transcended music and TV.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying to you? And he's still humble as fuck. And, you know,
I like that.
do you get what I'm saying to you? You know, but yeah, but like I said, not just Nasty. Big up Courtney. She's one of our singers on my label. Her dad's the late Dave Courtney,
Yes.
the celebrity gangster. Rest in peace, Dave. Dave's the man. Dave used to give us his place to use for video shoots way before Nasty was famous. You know, big up Super D, the biggest and best Afro House DJ in the country. A1 Too Funny, one of the biggest social media stars out there. And also I want to big up the team, just the general, Leon, Georgia, the whole, you know, like, I really don't do nothing at the label. Nathan does a lot of it. I don't, you know, I really take credit for a lot of their hard work. Do you know what I'm saying to you? So I couldn't do it without the team. And my sister as well, my little sister, she's head of Dice Productions.
Awesome.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying to you? Iffy, big shout out to her. So yeah, and once again also to my mother, you know, who made everything I've done in my life possible. And you know what I'm saying to you? And yeah, to everyone that supported, you know what I'm saying to you? Like I said, twice a year I go to prisons. I just done Pentonville the other day.
Oh.
They're talking. I take Nasty every year to Coldley Prison. We've done it 4 years straight. Black History Month. Go out there. We talk to the prisoners. We get them out of their cells. I bring everybody there, you know, because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Not
purpose.
Not sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, even at Pentonville, we took our BAFTA there. I made all the prisoners hold it, take a picture of their families and this, that, and the other, just to show everybody, like, bro, I could have been next cell next to you, bro.
Yeah.
But I'm here with you now to show you if I can do it.
You can too.
And you could do much better than me. Much, much better. Do you know what I'm saying?
I like that mentality.
You know? Yeah, of course, man.
I like that
and
mentality.
You might end up giving my children a job.
See?
You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I like that.
You know?
That makes sense.
Anyway, I think I've spoken a lot now, but
I like it.
Thank you again for, you know, your interview techniques are really good. You know, I'm sure you're going to do well in the future. You've got a good way of making people feel relaxed. It's been a bit like, I don't agree with it. It's been a bit like therapy, you know.
Do you know how many? If I had £1,
you know,
Kevin, for that. But you know what? I feel humbled by it, because I always say that the person that I'm interviewing is the star of the show. I've just been a source or a vessel, I say, to be able to give that person the opportunity. Because what I do find is that sometimes when you're doing a lot of interviews, I find that people stop you from saying what you want to say. I don't want to do that. I want you to say exactly what you want to say and how you want to say it. So thank you so much as well. It works both ways. In anything in life, it always works both ways. So this is me saying to you, thank you for your kindness, compassion, more than anything, your openness for you to just be yourself. That's important.
Yeah, thank you. All in Jesus' name, in God's name. And yeah, and like I said, I know I spoke a lot about religion on this, but big up all the, I don't care what you are, do you know what I'm saying to you? Big up all the religions, whether you're Hindu, Sikh, or
Buddhist,
Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, wherever you are, do you know what I'm saying to you? And even if you're an atheist, you're just still finding your way somewhere down the line. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
You'll find it.
You'll find it. So that's what I want everyone to take away from this. And like to big up, is it Bim?
Bim, yeah, 100% to Bim.
Shout out to Bim. He's been trying to get me to do this for a minute. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know, but yeah, 100%. And I can see that what you're doing is pushing the culture, which is it's bigger than us, as Nasty like to say. Do you know what I'm saying to you?
That's exactly what it is.
Keep pushing the culture. And I wish you all the success. And once this is done, I'll get them not to post. I'm going to force them to post it out of vanity. I'm
Out of
going to
vanity.
make all my artists post it. Like,
Aw.
you lot are going to post this.
I like this.
You know what I mean?
Oh, this is cool. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Ask People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and follow us on any platform that you desire or choose. You can also go on, listen to us every Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time on Apple TV, Fire TV, Freeview channel 271. You can also listen to us again on Wednesday on Heart Songs Live at 9 p.m. Every Tuesday, we bring out a new episode of the Ask People podcast, which is pre-recorded for you guys to listen to. And this is where I say the most important part. Guys, thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
Society has made me want to validate me from my illusion that awaits me, from how the people will perceive me. It's my illusion that awaits me. We fight our war with ourselves. Our mental health is silencing us from our heart. Social media is taking our time from connecting with each other soul to soul. Why we dance on TikTok, strike a post on Instagram, fight the web on a Twitter feed, link a thing on Snapchat. Why we dance on TikTok, strike a post on a Instagram, fight the web on a
Big up the Ebos as well, yeah. All Ebos, you know, all the Niger family. I can't do this, right? All my people know where, all my hair, you know, the whole, you know, River State, Delta State, Niger. Do you know what I'm saying? Big up all my people in Brooklyn and all in New York, and also big up all the lot from London, North London, East, South, and West. We're out here. Love.
We fight our war with ourselves. Our mental health is silencing us from our heart. Social media is taking our time from connecting with each other soul to soul. Why we dance on TikTok, strike a post on Instagram, fight the web on a Twitter feed, link a thing on Snapchat. Why we dance on TikTok, strike a post on a Instagram, fight the web on a Twitter feed, link a thing on Snapchat. Why we dance on TikTok? 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 It's taking our time. Why we dance on TikTok? With each other soul to soul. Why we dance on TikTok? Strike a post on Instagram, fight the web on a Twitter feed, link a thing on Snapchat.